The story we're going to talk about today is a 35-year-old mystery. Imagine just getting back from a cross-country trip to visit your family, feeling great about your future and your marriage, and then within a few days, vanishing. Soon after, a farewell letter from the missing person appears. Despite exhaustive efforts from family members, reporters, and the police over the years, this mystery seems destined to remain unsolved. But there is always hope. Let's talk about Pam Page. Pamela Jane Frisbee was born on January 18, 1957, and raised in Arkansas. She grew up in a loving, large family and was close with her parents, Willie and Mary, and her 7 older siblings. Pam met Rob Page while he was on leave from the Navy. Interestingly enough, Rob's sister was actually married to Pam's brother. Rob and Pam were married in 1977, not long after they met, and by all accounts, their marriage was good in the early years. After living in several different places due to Rob being in the Navy, the couple eventually moved to Peoria, Arizona in 1983. There was a rough patch a few years prior to Pam's disappearance where the couple had talked separation when Pam had a pregnancy scare. She had looked into possibly relocating back to Arkansas, but when it turned out she was not pregnant, her and Rob patched things up and seemed to be more in love than ever. They had a successful video rental store named Fast Forward Video in Glendale, Arizona. 12 years into their marriage, all things appeared to be looking up for Rob and Pam. But appearances can sometimes be deceiving. In July of 1989, Pam went to Arkansas for a week to attend a family reunion and visit with her parents and siblings. Pam's sister Jimmy remembers Pam being in good spirits. She talked about how much in love with Rob she was and talked about their plans for the future. They were looking into buying a new house, purchasing new furniture, and plans were even in the works for opening up a second video rental store. When Pam left to go back to Arizona, her family was pleased to see her in such a good place in her life. Little did they know it would be the last time they would ever see her. Pam left Arkansas for home on Sunday, July 16, 1989. While Pam was visiting her family, she mentioned that her back and stomach had been hurting. Pam's sister Trina called her sister Wednesday, July 26th, 10 days after she had arrived back in Arizona to check on her. Trina had forgotten about the time difference between Arkansas and Arizona, so the call was at 4 a.m. Arizona time. Rob answered the phone and matter-of-factly told Trina that Pam had left him the previous Friday. Trina was absolutely shocked that her sister had been gone for 4 days and Rob didn't bother to tell any of her family. He also told Trina that Pam had left him a goodbye letter and she insisted that Rob read it to her over the phone, so he did. Another strange development is that one of their miniature dachshunds named Rerun was also missing, while their other dog, Killer, was at their home. As soon as Trina gets off the phone, she frantically calls the rest of the family to tell them that Pam is missing. One by one, the family members called Rob and asked him to read the letter he claims Pam had left behind. Pam's father asked that Rob send him a copy so he could see the actual letter. He agreed. The family was shocked when viewing the letter, as it was typewritten and the handwritten Pam at the bottom looked nothing like her signature. Here is what the letter said.
Rob, I was going to write this, but every time my hand started shaking. You may already have figured out what is happening. Sarah said I shouldn't write you a letter, but you deserve an explanation. By the time you read this, I will be a long way from here. Right now, I'm not even sure where we are going to go. I'm not coming back either. I have thought this thing out and have been planning this for several months. I thought I would go back home, but it just isn't right. I know this now since my trip. I'm leaving because I'm not happy, and I know you aren't either. I thought living back home would make me happy. It won't. I know this now. I guess I really don't know what will make me happy, but I have to find it. I do know that we are not happy together, and we haven't been in so long I really can't remember anymore. You have changed so much over the years, and each year we just keep getting farther apart. We don't love each other, and I'm not sure if we really ever did. I'm not sure what real love is, but it has to be better than this. We are only existing together, and it is making me crazy. I really care about you, but I have to start doing something for me. I'm tired of trying to please everyone in this world except myself. I'm tired of being nice to you, the girls, the members, my family, your family, and everyone else, and getting nothing in return. The only one who can find happiness for me is myself. The only real friend I feel like I have is Sarah. She understands my feelings and has really helped me to face the realities of life. She has done what I am doing. Sarah and I are both looking for the same thing, happiness. She hasn't found it here, and neither have I. I'm not sure where we are going yet, but I guess it really doesn't make much difference. Sarah and I have gotten close to each other over the months, and I don't think I could do this without her being there. I'm taking Rerun with me. He always did love me the best. Killer was always your favorite, and I know he would miss you if I took him also. I know they will miss each other. Be good to Killer, because I'm really going to miss him a lot. I'm leaving this way because I don't think I could tell you these things face to face. I know you thought we were going to get a divorce. I just don't think I could go through all of that. It would drive me insane to play 20 questions with everyone about, and everyone would be trying to put us back together when we both know it wasn't meant to be. I'm taking the Horde. A second store was never meant to be. I'm leaving you enough money in the accounts to keep you in the green. I'm going to take the car, but only to meet Sarah. I will leave the keys behind the driver's seat and look. It will be at one of the Winchell's donut shops in town. I just don't want you to try and find me. Please don't try. I'll just leave. I'll leave the other keys, the checkbook, and all of my credit cards on the table with this letter. I'm not sure if I could ever go back home after doing this, but try to explain what I'm doing. I love my family, but they just wouldn't understand what I'm trying to do. I do feel good about what I'm doing. I know inside that this is the right thing for both of us. I know you will do okay with the store. You might want to make 2 of the girls managers. I know that is what you have always wanted. You should get an accountant, too. Try not to get too carried away with your ideas, and everything will work out. You always have to have the last word. This is the one time when I beat you to it. Please try to understand why it must be this way. I really don't want to hurt you, but I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want you to hate me. I'm going to take the pictures. You never look at them anyway. Please don't worry about us. We will be all right. Between Sarah and me, we will have plenty of money to take care of ourselves. Promise you will eat right. You were always bad about that when I have been gone. You can't live on cereal and pizza all your life. You can tell the members whatever you want to make it easiest on you and the girls. I have always thought you were going out on me, even though I don't know when you would have time to. If you are, I guess I don't really blame you, but I'm glad I never found out. I don't know exactly what I would have done. If you never have, I'm sorry I mistrusted you. I never went out on you. I always hoped that someday things would change with us. I know now that isn't possible. I'm sure there must be someone out there who is right for me and you, because we sure aren't right for each other. Sarah is looking for the same thing, and together, I think we will find it. Take care of Killer. Pam.
Pam's family rushed to Arizona as soon as they heard she was missing. Although Rob assured them he had reported his wife's disappearance to the authorities, when her family arrived at the police station, they discovered no such police report had been filed. As soon as the authorities were made aware, they started to investigate Pam's disappearance and began to question Rob. As far as anyone can tell, Pam was last seen alive and well on Friday night, July 21st, 1989. She had walked out to the parking lot with her assistant manager from the video store, where they were discussing the second store Pam was planning on opening. The workers at the video store all said that Pam was in a good mood that week. They remembered that Pam and Rob were very affectionate towards each other when Rob would come into the store. seemingly not the actions of a wife who just a few days later would supposedly be leaving her husband. As far as the letter, the family is adamant that there is absolutely no proof that Sarah ever existed. The family, as well as the police, looked into and interviewed absolutely everyone who was in Pam's life. Her friends, customers at the video store, employees at the video store, people at a stained glass class Pam was taking were all spoken with. Not only did they never encounter this mysterious Sarah, no one had ever even heard of or seen such a person. The family also believes that Rob made one of the couple's dogs disappear along with Pam to make it more believable. In fact, during her trip to Arkansas just before her disappearance, Pam had stated she would never separate the dogs because they were older dogs and had grown up together. So the family knew she would never do the exact opposite less than a week later. When questioned by the police, Rob had a very colorful version of events that happened the day that Pam went missing. He initially claimed he needed to pick up an ignition switch for his truck, so he went to several auto parts stores to try to find one. At one of them, his truck didn't start, so he said he phoned home and got no answer. He then called a taxi. He claimed he never went into the house, just into the garage, got the part he needed, and then rode his bicycle back to where his truck was. Once his truck started, he drove home and found the letter. Rob also claimed that they had $60,000 in cash stashed away in a safe at the store, and when he noticed his wife was gone, he checked and their cash was also gone. He then finds Pam's Corvette at a nearby donut shop the next day. None of the employees at any of the auto parts stores remember Rob or anyone that day asking about an ignition switch. Also, none of the employees or customers remember seeing Rob's very distinctive truck parked at the store where Rob claimed it remained for 4 hours, and part of that time he said he was working on it. Another version he told to the employees at their video store was that Pam was sick on Saturday morning. He stated he left her home sick, and when he went to the house at 11 a.m. to check on her, he found her gone and the note left. Interestingly enough, it is also thought that Rob took his boat out the same weekend that Pam disappeared. Then what the family already knew was confirmed 3 weeks after the disappearance by the crime lab. The signature at the bottom of the letter was absolutely not Pam's handwriting. Rob then had to change his story a bit. He claims he found the letter in their word processor at home and added the last 4 sentences to it, printed it out, and signed Pam's name. He then stated he had thought his wife had left him for a woman and he was embarrassed. He also admitted to driving her car to the donut shop, went to a payphone across the street, and called a taxi. However, after the police analyzed the word processor at the house, it was discovered that the letter was written all at the same time, so once again, Rob's different versions weren't holding up. The police had asked him to take a polygraph on several occasions, and he declined. It was also highly doubted by both police and Pam's family that there was even $60,000 in the couple's safe to be taken by Pam, as the couple seemed to spend most of the money they made and would not have had that kind of savings. My guest on this podcast is someone who has worked tirelessly on this disappearance. In fact, you might be surprised at the efforts this family has put forth to try to find Pam Page. Welcome Pam's sister, Jimmy Rice, to my podcast. Welcome, Jimmy. Thank you for agreeing to join me to talk about this disappearance.
Oh, and thank you for doing it. We appreciate anything that keeps Pam out in the public. Yes. Anything at all. But thank you very much. You've worked a lot on this.
That was my pleasure. First off, tell us a little bit about your sister Pam and what you want our listeners to know about her.
Well, Pam was the youngest of all of us. I mean, we range from 81 to mid-60s. And Pam was the baby. She would be 65. And, she disappeared when she was 32, so she didn't have time to live any life.
Yeah.
No children, no nothing. But Pam was funny. I mean, she was really smart, business smart. She owned her own video store, and I mean that was her. She started it and did it all herself. And then she worked for a bank a while, and then decided she wanted to go into her own business. But she joked a lot. I mean, she was a happy person. I mean, an easy person to talk to.
Yeah.
Real close to my mom and daddy. I mean, she was real close to them because she was the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only ones left at home were Willie and Charles, and they're twins, and then Pam. And then they left home, and it was just Pam and Mom and Daddy for a long time.
Oh, okay. So take us back to that last visit with your family before she disappeared. What do you remember about it, and does anything stand out to you?
Well, probably we went to my mom and dad. Pam had never been camping, and we didn't camp, but we rented a cabin up at Devil's Den, which is up in the mountains from here. And we went up there, and she and I slept on like a make-down couch thing, and it was just us, and we talked, and it rained that night, and she, said she hadn't smelled rain in so long. But anyway, she talked a lot about Rob. She loved him.
Yeah.
I mean, she just felt like she was going to spend the rest of her life with him. There was no indication she was ever going to leave or anything. And we talked about her dogs and, all of the nieces and nephews she had and things like that. But she just gave no indication of leaving. She was just a happy person.
So she didn't talk about any problems that they were having?
Not then. Now, she talked about, she tried calling him a lot, and he wasn't answering the phone. Mm. And then she found out he had been on the boat. They had a sailboat. Mm-hmm. That he had been out on the sailboat that week, and hadn't told her about it and stuff. So she was kind of questioning him on that stuff. Yeah. Now, 2 years before, they had an issue. Pam had called me and talked about coming back. But then she said one day he just walked in and told her he didn't want a divorce anymore, and that was it. And she was happy. Yeah. So, I mean, that was just 2 years before that. And she said for no reason. He just, came back in and said he didn't want a divorce. It was all wrong and all that. But that's when we think he started planning.
Yeah. So how and when did you find out that Pam was missing?
I was at work. I was a surgery nurse, and the person at the desk called me and told me that I needed to take the call, that my sister was on the phone and I needed to take the call. And so I went to a room and called, talked to her, and she said Pam was missing, and she was real upset. And she said Trina, our oldest sister, had called Pam, and Rob had read her this letter that said she was missing, that she was leaving him and all this, and that she was missing since Friday, and no one knew where she was at. So I immediately left work and came home and called Trina and talked to her, and then called and talked to Rob. And he read me the letter too, but he told us all different stories. I mean, it was all a little bit different every time, so it just made us real suspicious. And then Rena, one of the other sisters, called him and talked to him. And then he told me he had filed a police report. And I told him to give me the number and everything, and he didn't at that time. But I wanted to see what the letter said, too, for myself. Mm-hmm. And we went, my sister came down from Fayetteville, and we went and told my mom and dad, because we wanted to be the one telling them that she was missing. And we started asking questions and all that stuff, and then I got Rob to send me the copy of the letter. Mm-hmm. And that was the next day. I mean, he put it off all day. and I, called her work for the business she owned and talked to people there and everything. And he sent me the letter, and he said, I'm putting the police report on it. Well, immediately I called the police department about it, to find out what they were doing. Since I had this police report number,
Mm-hmm.
it was fictitious. He
Oh.
had never called them. So they knew nothing about it, had no missing person thing. And the letter was typed. I mean, it was like out of a printout from a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a signature on it. And we got a lot of Pam's cards and things that she sent to Mama and Daddy, and took it to the police department. And they got someone do a handwriting analysis on it. And it was not her signature.
Yeah.
So we decided to get in the car and go. And we got up early the next morning. And it's like 1,300 miles from here. So we got there on Saturday about noon.
Yeah. I was going to have you tell the listeners, like, how often you and your family would go to Arizona and what you would do when you were there.
We went a lot that first couple of years. I mean, it was every couple of months, 2 or 3 months, and we would be there. And we would put up posters first. I mean, we'd go in her neighborhood and go door to door. I mean, we went a huge part of that neighborhood, always, every time. And sometimes, every time we went, somebody new would talk to us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like you learned something every time. And then we would go to the police station and talk to them, and and ask questions and see things. And we learned a lot from the neighbors, like Pam, her clothes and stuff. I mean, we learned a lot of stuff about that from one of the neighbors. They wanted me to call this fella. He worked he had a bookstore, in the same place where Pam had her video shop, in that area. And he had saw Rob that weekend carrying big bags of trash to a dumpster in their lot, and they weren't supposed to do that. And he had a woman with him, which wasn't Pam. So anyway, they, things like that we learned every time we went. I mean, we talked to somebody new. They would come to our hotel, talk to us, tell us all about what they knew. And it got the police a lot of leads, but it just didn't lead to anything.
Now, there's a couple other people. A lot of our Unsolved Mysteries fans might know, unless they've read my original article on Pam, that someone who appeared in a few different episodes of Unsolved Mysteries actually helped your family a lot in the years, and that is Don Devereaux. Tell us about your interaction with him and how he helped in Pam's case.
Don, how we met him, there was one of Pam's neighbors. It was the time we were out there gathering, putting up posters and looking for information and going door to door. And she said she had met a man that, did Unsolved Mysteries and stuff like that. And she said, I told them if they thought that was interesting, they ought to hear about my neighbor. And she said, would we be willing to talk to him? And we said, sure. So that's how we met Don.
Oh, okay.
And he, he was just worth $1 million to us. Yeah. He never charged us anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was all pro bono. He did all this research. And he took he would turn it into the police and give them leads and that they followed up and stuff like that. And he helped do the Unsolved Mystery, get us on there.
Oh, okay. And then there was also a Jana Thorson that was interviewed on the segment, if you want to talk about her.
Jana was, we met her probably just a little, a month or two after we started. We went to put an ad in the paper, I did, and they ended up calling us, and I met Jana that way, and she would write articles for us every time we came, and just kept it going, kept him out in the news, would talk to other people. She did things for Don, doing the research and stuff for him, And then she went with me and my brother one time to a gold mine up in the mountains. I mean, we had found a map that he had borrowed, and we got the guy to give us the map, and we went to that mine too. I mean, just all kinds of different things. But Jana was a lifesaver. She was who we called when we got there. She would call and give us information. I mean, just a good friend, a real good friend. And I mean, we still hear from her.
Well, that's great. So, Rob Page refused to appear in the Unsolved Mysteries segment, thinking he wouldn't be portrayed fairly. Tell us what ended up happening to Rob Page and what was noteworthy about that time in his life.
That time, he remarried. He told us that he had got Pam to, but he also remarried in that time, and it lasted just a couple of months, I think.
So did he have to get a divorce from Pam, technically?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
He did it on desertion, I think.
Yeah, that's typical.
Yeah. And, I mean, we did get some of her personal things the first trip there. Like, I had painted a painting that she wanted, and I'd given her, and he left us some things outside the door. I mean, we had no contact with Rob after that first phone call here. None. And,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever go to the house and knock, or he just wouldn't be there?
We did. Every time we went, we knocked on the door. I did.
Wow.
And put up a poster on his door every time. And he took the posters down that first week we put them out. Took every one of them. He would go in there, where Pam had her shop. He would took all the posters down just right after we put them up.
Wow.
It was odd. I mean, just...
Yeah, and he's the only one not looking for her because he knows where she is, probably.
No. But anyway, he ended up, with the house and all that stuff, which we didn't want any part of. I mean, we wanted Pam, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he died of cancer in 2009.
Okay, now he had battled for quite a while, right?
Yeah, a year or two, I think. Yeah.
And so you said that a family member did something at the end of his life that I thought was very interesting.
Yes, his nephew, and the nephew's mother. The nephew was a pastor or some, was a preacher of some kind, and he went in the room when, Rob was in hospice, and tried to get him to tell what Pam was, and he told him to leave the room.
Wow.
I mean, he just took it with him.
He was hoping for a deathbed confession, but...
Yeah, and didn't get it.
Yeah.
But...
Well, now, both of your parents, sadly, have passed away since the segment aired, correct?
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2013, and then Mama passed away in 2020. And they're buried together at the National Cemetery.
Yeah.
And they had told us if we ever found Pam there, that they would put her in with them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that's probably your main goal 35 years later, is to just have her remains.
For somebody to find her, for somebody to, come forward that maybe thought they were going to get in trouble. I mean, we don't worry about that part of it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we know who did it, and he's getting what he deserved. But anybody that knew anything, that no matter how little, if they would just come and we could find her, I mean,
yeah.
I think that my mom and dad would know. I do.
Yeah.
But we're all older now. All of us are retired. I mean, time is running out, and we want to find her.
Yes. Well, Jimmy, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me. I truly hope you can find her and get the family the closure that might provide.
Well, I think with things that you're doing, and, her being on missing person sites and stuff like that.
And still on Unsolved Mysteries is still streaming and showing her case as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's good.
So it will happen one day.
Yeah.
And we'll keep going. I mean, we were there. It's been 5 years since we went last because it was the 30-year mark, and they had done a cold case, and we were there to get the results of that. But I'll go back. I mean, we will always go back.
Okay, Jimmy. Well, you take care, and we will keep in touch.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The family did learn some interesting things on their trips to Arizona, and it seemed everything they discovered continued to point the finger at Rob. On one of their trips, soon after the disappearance, they were talking with people in the area when they learned some new information. They spoke with a woman in a nearby cul-de-sac who had the business card of a gentleman who ran a bookstore in the area. The man saw Rob, a woman, and a small child throwing a lot of trash bags in the dumpster several of the businesses shared right after Pam went missing. This was something all shop owners had agreed not to do, so the man looked in the dumpster after the couple left and said it appeared to be bags of women's clothing. The bookstore owner had to leave town soon after due to a family member's illness and had no idea at the time that Pam was missing. When he did find out, he shared the story with the police, but they never passed it on to Pam's family. Rob would also take down missing person posters of Pam as soon as they were put up, and had even contacted a divorce attorney prior to her going missing, asking how to get a divorce if your spouse is gone. If things didn't seem obvious enough, Rob even hired his own PI to investigate his wife's disappearance. According to Jimmy, the PI actually went to the police and Pam's family, saying he believed Rob had done something to cause her disappearance. According to the family, at the time of Pam's disappearance, Rob was thought to be having an affair with his secretary at the Palo Verde nuclear plant where he worked. She said the secretary's mother-in-law confirmed this. It was reported the week before Pam went missing, when she was visiting her relatives in Arkansas, that Rob had spent most of the time with the secretary and her young son on his boat. It is thought perhaps her and the son, as well as Rob, could be the ones seen putting belongings in the dumpster soon after the disappearance. Although they believed that their sister was dead, the family followed up on every lead in hopes it would give them answers. They did find out, within a few years of her disappearance, that Pam's Social Security card had been used, which briefly gave the family renewed hope. It was discovered that this person even lived close to Pam's family in Arkansas. It turns out the woman was named Pamela Jean Page. She was the same age as the missing Pam Page and even had red hair. It was discovered that she had lost her Social Security card and applied for a replacement, but was given a new card with Pam's number on it by mistake. Jimmy even spoke to this woman and arranged for her parents to meet her just to convince them it was not their Pam. The woman was very understanding and agreed to meet the family, which she did. Sadly, she passed away a few years later from an illness. It might surprise you to know that Pam isn't the only person in the Frisbee family to go missing. Pam's first cousin, Darla Harper, went missing 3 years before Pam did. She was in her mid-20s, the mother of a little girl named Leslie, and in the middle of a contentious divorce. Jimmy always wondered if Pam talking about Darla's disappearance is what gave Rob the idea to make Pam disappear. Some years after Darla disappeared, her ex-husband's home was searched by the FBI. Under his home, they found a tarp that had been doused with lime and acid. They found a tiny bone, but were unable to get any DNA from it. It was also known that her ex missed work at his job the entire next week after Darla went missing and had bandages on his hand. He then remodeled the bathroom that week, the same location where police searched years later and found the tarp. Some painters working in the area of her townhouse, as well as her ex, are thought to be suspects. Darla's ex passed away several years ago in a traffic accident. Sadly, just 2 weeks before Darla went missing, her sister Debbie, who had always struggled with physical problems, also died. So unfortunately, tragedy is something the Frisbee family has had to deal with. My friend Stephen Pacheco has a well-researched 2-part podcast on Darla's disappearance. You can find it on episode 175 and 176 of his Trace Evidence podcast. When Unsolved Mysteries was contacted about profiling Pam's case, her family asked if Darla's case could be profiled as well. The producer looked into it, but they declined to tackle Darla's disappearance, saying something about it confusing the viewers. Surprisingly, Rob did not participate in the Unsolved Mysteries segment. Jimmy said Rob thought the show was on the side of Pam's family and would twist what he said, so he declined to be interviewed. Decades would go by and there were never really any developments in Pam's disappearance. The family is absolutely convinced that Rob killed Pam, but would really like to find her remains to help with closure. Pam's family does want me to clear something up. I'm not sure of the source, but there are reports out there that state that Rob is no longer a suspect in Pam's disappearance. That is absolutely not the case. In fact, I will read a letter the family received several years ago from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office that should clear up any confusion. There's a photo of the letter in my original article on my website. It reads, "Dear Frisbee family, I have reviewed the summary of this case and the appended fact chronology, which includes the most recent witness statements. I have also spoken with detectives Mark Stribling and Dennis Olson about their review of and follow-up on this case. If this matter was submitted to me today for consideration of charges, I believe we would have a reasonable likelihood of conviction, despite Pam's body never being found, of Robert Page on the charge of murder in the second degree. We really have no solid information to prove premeditation for a count of murder in the first degree. This case offers nothing in the way of alternative explanations of Pam Page's disappearance to warrant continuing working this case in efforts to find other suspects. In view of the fact that suspect Robert Page is now deceased, I consider this case closed. Sincerely, Bob Schutz, Attorney Cold Case Supervisor." It is now time for my thoughts on the case. It probably isn't surprising to hear that I believe Rob Page killed Pam. I think he may have even planned her demise on the week she was visiting her family, doing research and working on the letter perhaps. From what the family had learned, he had a new love and was ready to have a future with her. Going through a contentious divorce and dividing the couple's considerable assets would have been a messy way to go, and Rob just wanted to move on with his life. He was certain he could convince people that she moved on willingly, and the only thing that kept him out of jail was, as Jimmy was told, it was a different time back then. It seems the no body, no crime era definitely applied in this case. This podcast is being released on or around July 22nd, which is the 35th anniversary of Pam's disappearance. It appears that with the passage of time, the realization that Pam Page might remain missing is a distinct possibility. Still, her family has hope that her remains can be found and she can be laid to rest near her family in Arkansas. Pam's parents have since passed away, but all of her siblings are still alive and want answers as to where their loved one is and what happened to her in her final hours. The Frisbee family is amazing for the time and devotion they have spent over the last 35 years trying to find their loved one. If sheer determination and effort could locate a missing loved one, then Pam Page would certainly have been found many years ago. It is a shame that with the information that has came out, that the final letter was not penned by Pam and was indeed a forged farewell. That concludes my podcast on Pam Page. If you enjoyed it, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. You can find my podcast on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. It is one word, Lost and Found Podcast. I release a new episode every 2 weeks, and you can reach me at lostandfoundpodcast@yahoo.com. You You can always find all of my articles, as well as links to my most recent podcast episodes, on my website at Lost and Found Blogs. And remember that cold cases stay cold because their story stops getting told.